Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. In this series, we're going to be taking a brand new account. Literally just started this account and taking it to champion in less than a month. Can we do it? So I first recommend completing as many faction quests as you can for the deck that you want to build. Have a deck in mind. So in this case, I think we're going to go with red-orange and try and build that up, because that's the deck I use on my main account to get from Mithril to Champion. And so this time we'll just try and use it to get all the way up. Kind of stuck on the constructs dying during an enemy turn, but once we get the power to create constructs for 3, this should be pretty easy to complete. So for now, we're going to make a mono red deck and use that to climb through bronze, hopefully leveling us up so that we can get this reconstruct power and go from there. Let's talk about craft priorities. So, as you can see, I have a bunch of wild cards. I have not used any of them yet. I wanted to make sure you guys knew what to prioritize crafting. So let's go to red. So obviously we want the 4th Strogi Pup. This card is pretty good. So let's go ahead and get that. We want 4 Trapezists. And we want 4 Iron Belly. These are the bread and butter of most red decks, and when we go to red-orange, we'll be using all of these as well. So we don't feel bad about crafting them, even though they are commons. From there, we need to look at what else we have. Panic Raider is a pretty good card that we could probably use 3 of. We definitely want a second Wings of Abaddon. So let's start by putting these cards in a deck. So we're going to go with the full 4 ignitions. We want Iron Belly as additional 1 drops. We want all the Ichor Feast. Will usually be the aggressor in most of our matchups, so we just want to keep gassing up and deploying cards. We want all the rush minions we can possibly get. Alright, and that leaves us at 22 cards. For the path, we're going to go with Journey of Souls. And for the power, since we haven't unlocked Fuse yet, we're going to go with Smite. For now, we're going to add Minotaur, just as additional 1 drops. We want to get deployed to the board as quickly as possible. And let's look at what we do not own. Alright, so I think Firesong Prodigy is worth the craft. We'll be using it in our final version, and it will be good all the way up to then. But before we do that, let's check what else we can find. We also want 2 Shophorn Bull, and we definitely want a second Wings of Abaddon. So we'll go ahead and make this with one of our wild cards. So we have a red mythic wild card. I believe Gika is the best red card that you can do, especially in an aggressive based deck. Just being able to clear out all the big guys and pushing through is going to make a huge difference. So we'll go ahead and craft that and add that to the deck. This brings our numbers up to 27. I do believe we want the full set of Panic Raiders. Unfortunately, Panic Raider will be one of the cards that we end up cutting, but for now, it fits with the aggressive theme, and we just want to make this deck as good as possible so we win, so our win rate is as high as possible. That way we get to our next cards as quickly as possible. How many times can you say possible in a row? 1 more. Alright, and that brings us up to 29 cards. So I think we'll put 2 Crimson Pax-ins. We want removal. Let's go ahead and check out our wild cards. We still have 3 We still have 3 rare wild cards, so I'll go ahead and craft Fire Song Prodigy. Just giving us extra reach with the ignitions is pretty huge. And 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 2 more commons. It's most likely going to be Iron Flesh Performer. Let's double check, make sure we're not missing anything. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and craft 2 Iron Flesh Performers. This gives us 10 cards we can proactively play on turn 1, which is a solid number. This also brings our count up to 35, and we have 1 wild card left in rare. So let's go ahead and craft a bull, and at this point you should have earned the dust, 500 dust just from leveling up. So we're going to go ahead and use that to craft second bull. These cards go in our final versions of the deck, and it is a great card to have, especially when you're not trying to burn too high. Being able to shuffle away the ephemeral cards is pretty solid. And let's look at lane enchantments to round out this deck. We want Red Carnival. We can get 3 Red Carnival, so let's go ahead and do that. Alright, and that is our 40 card deck. We have 27 creatures, 10 spells, and 3 lane enchantments. And 4 of those spells are ignition, so they're just face damage. But this gives us a pretty high proc on Journey of Souls. And let's get into a couple games. Wow, no 1-drops. That's pretty incredible. We have 3 3s, which is a little high. So I went ahead and shuffled one of the duplicates back. This is interesting. Red plus Mend is probably incorrect as far as deck building goes, but they are playing Extract Life, so maybe they're trying to go a little bit bigger. We deploy this one first because we want this one to die. At this point, it's a little late for 1-drop, so let's go ahead and ditch that. We'll put this in the corner. Smash, draw, smash, and pass the turn. We have a good Wings of Abaddon turn next turn, depending on how they try and block. We also have Iron Belly if they choose not to block, or double Trapezist. Let's go ahead and draw a card first. I prefer to double spell in instances like these, so we'll go ahead and take the time to do so. They've played absolutely nothing so far, which is crazy to me. But I'll burn 1 Iron Belly since we have another one, and I value the Wings of Abaddon and the reach that the ignitions give me, and the Crimson Pack removal for any big bodies that they might play. Alright. Let's go ahead and ignition that down. Let's burn the vampire. And because they were getting Freaky Huntress back, I saved the ignition. And that's the game. Excellent. We have a 1-drop. We have multiple 1-drops, 2s. Technically we have 3s, but they're very situational. But Fire Song Prodigy is kind of a 2 and a 3 because it gives us a card to play. It's early for Crimson Pack, so I'll go ahead and burn that. We'll deploy in the corner. I'll probably end up burning the second Minotaur next turn. I just wanted a little bit more information before I went ahead with that. God's Spore Mushroom. That's interesting. So my philosophy is when in doubt, double spell. We burned the ignition because we have 2 Fire Song Prodigies, so we can generate an ignition if we need it. And I really like Wings of Abaddon, especially with Red Carnival. It'd be really great for us if they chose not to take the trade. But that wasn't very likely. This gives us a free burn, which is great. And then we'll go ahead and deploy the Fire Song Prodigy and get this off the table. With this deck, you want to stop burning around 4 to 5. Anything higher than that is probably a waste. There are, of course, exceptions to that rule. Sometimes you need to get to 6 for some reason, like maybe you need to deploy Fire Song and a Wings of Abaddon so that you can sacrifice the Fire Song to the Wings to get in a favorable trade.
Fallout.
They did not burn a card, which is pretty interesting. So I think I want to go ahead and develop the Wings of Abaddon. So we'll get rid of the Fire Song Prodigy. Smash for 2. Eat our Minotaur. And this sets up a pretty nice Red Carnival next turn, depending on what happens. Huh. So I think this works in my favor. I'll be very sad if it doesn't. So I'm going to trade. Huh. Okay, I guess that does not work in my favor. Interesting. I feel like he should have got, Wings should have gotten buffed before the demise trigger happened, but and having drawn a better card to put on Carnival, I'm going to go ahead and burn the 1-drop. And we're sitting pretty good.
Fallout. Another battle.
So we will Crimson Pack that. Then we'll go ahead and burn a card to play Iron Belly to make this trade, which makes this even bigger. Draw another card, and that's lethal. this is the computer, so this should be a relatively easy game. We have Fire Song and another ignition, so we'll go ahead and burn the first one. We'll go ahead and contest this just to get it off the board. We have armor, so not worried about this. And then, so for those of you watching, the reason to lead with Fire Song Prodigy is you usually want to save your rush minions. They're the most flexible. So also, like, in terms of pushing damage, if I play my rush minion first, yes, it gets in 2 damage, and then it gets in another 2 damage the next turn. But if I play my non-rush minion first, it doesn't get any damage, but the next turn when I do play my rush minion, it gets in 4 total damage. Then the next turn it gets in another 4, which makes it 8 instead of 6. So after 2 to 3 turns, the damage starts adding up in favor of playing your non-rush minions. So here we're just going to get that off the table. I'm going to go ahead and burn Red Carnival. I don't see this matchup being about trading. Not in the sense that we'll have time to trade and develop Red Carnival.
Stay calm.
So for mana efficiency's sake, we'll go ahead and develop Wings of Abaddon. We'll sacrifice the creature that has no power. And then we'll get this card back at the beginning of our turn. It's a little unfortunate, but we're still at a pretty sizable advantage.
Burn me.
And that's the game. I'll come here for exacties, right?